Welcome back from the break, Rams. I am Jared Stratton here to catch you up on what's going on in CSU athletics. Let's go rolling right into it. On Tuesday, the Rams won another Mountain West Athlete of the Week award, and I know what you're thinking, it's another softball player, but no, it was Adam Dawson from the track and field team. Adam Dawson won the award with flying colors due to his tremendous outing in the discus throw over the weekend. His mark was 54.49 meters, which was the best at the invite. It ranks as the 13th best discus throw by CSU and puts him at 41st place in the NCAA D1 standings, with it being the number one in the Mountain West. He'll be able to improve on his high standards as early as tomorrow in the Colorado Invite, which lasts through Saturday. In the professional soccer world, the USA women's soccer team is currently in Denver. They're playing right now against Australia team in Dick's Sporting Goods Park, and the score currently right now is 0-0. I think that'll change really soon, though. The game will be highlighted by their leading scorer, Carly Lloyd, the legendary Alex Morgan, and the Australian team. Nothing against the Australian team, though. They are ranked number 6 in the power rankings, but every team is ranked lower than the U.S., and the expectation is for them to take home the Women's World Cup trophy later this year. This will be the third toughest opponent for the USA team this year, and most likely the toughest team they will face until June. The World Cup will begin June 9th. Now I am joined by fellow news anchor Ryan Christ.
Thanks, Jared.
And we're going to be talking about how on the Tuesday show, Tara and Jess, they talked about how esports wasn't a sport. They even went as far to say it was an insult to athletes everywhere, and I know you have a strong opinion on this, Ryan.
You know, on behalf of all the esports players, I'm insulted for them. I think that was just an overstatement. You know, we know esports should be classified as a sport. Just because it's not as physical as other sports doesn't mean we can't count it as not a sport. And we can really talk about some of that physicalness. So people think it's all just within the fingers, you know, when there's not. There's so much more that goes into that.
And a lot of that is like a lot of team aspects as well. Constantly the games is changing. There's different patches coming out, different updates coming out, so they have to relearn how to play certain characters. They
do. We just had a recent patch out for the biggest esports game, League of Legends, and a lot of old characters are coming back that they now have to relearn. And if they can't relearn it, they're either going to get benched or they're going to get kicked off the team, just like a sports player who's not performing well.
Oh, definitely. And also, like with the adaptive controllers coming out, anyone is able to play. Anyone with any disability, anything limiting them to be able to play, they're able to play. And not only play, they're also able to play competitively.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of that, playing competitively with the controllers, people think, you know, like Tara was saying, it's all just in the thumbs movement. That's not physical enough. Well, there's a term that we use in esports, which is actions per minute. That's how many times you're clicking the mouse or hitting the keyboard or putting some sort of input in. I did a test before the show, of course, to see my actions per minute. You can find that online. And basically what you do is you click around the screen on numbers going from 50 to 1 in descending order, and it's kind of a combination of being able to click fast and to kind of know which number is next. I got about 125 actions per minute, which may sound high, but an average esports player in competitive play is in the 400 to 500 range. It's almost 4 times faster than me, trying as hard as I can to click on these buttons on the screen. So if that's not a physical skill, then I don't know what is, you know?
Oh, definitely, and it's like a lot of mentality aspect as well. You have to be ready, you have to be playing all the time. There's no really time off for these players, so I don't see how it isn't a sport at this point.
I know, right? Speaking of that mental capacity, Poe Belter, a esports player for the FlyQuest team, took the Wonderlic test that the quarterbacks took, and he actually scored higher than 70% of the football players. So we know that they have the physical capabilities and they have the mental capabilities, just like football players, just like sports players. So I think it's insulting to say that esports is not a sport.
Definitely. I think we settled it here. It truly is a sport. Thanks for joining me, Ryan.
Thank you, Jared.
Now, don't worry, I did not forget. It is time for the best time of the week. It is the 1 minute challenge where I fit in as much sports news as possible in all under 1 minute. Let's get that timer rolling. In college football, Clemson received their championship rings but labeled them as best ever, which made a ton of fans pretty angry. But let's talk about the draft. Kyler Murray is looking more and more like the top pick in the NFL draft, which is really a smokescreen. They recently set up a meeting with Nick Bosa in Fort Lauderdale to see if they want him instead of Murray. Josh Rosen has been involved in constant trade talks with the Cardinals. The Patriots even calling for him, but the Cardinals are purportedly not rushing in any trades. Montez Sweat is flying up the draft boards because of his tremendous combine. Almost every team is seeing if he fits their scheme. The Broncos have been seen as favorites for Missouri quarterback Drew Lock, but there's been reports of them wanting to trade back and trade down to acquire more picks to support Joe Flacco for the season. Regarding the Broncos, Chris Harris Jr. is not participating in the training camp, similar to Russell Wilson, with the intention of getting a new deal done. And the MLB, Bryce Harper is booed in D.C., struck out twice, then hit a booming home run to silence the crowd. The Rockies are only above the Giants NL West and below everyone else. They have lost 4 out of the last 5 games and will need to improve their pitching drastically to save their season, no pun intended. In the NBA, the Nuggets slipped out number 1 in the West after losing to the Warriors and looking like the lock for the second seed in the West for playoffs. Woo, 1.62 seconds. I'm really cutting that close. All right, that's all sports I have for today. Make sure to check collegian.com and sports_CTV to know what's going on in CSU athletics. I'm Jared Stratton. Up next is Lauren O'Cutt talking about how plants can be a nice stress reliever.